Hi everyone, welcome to Tech Gurukul. So today in Linux series, we will be learning about different commands category wise, which will help you to work efficiently on Linux. So okay, so let's start. Okay, so these are the basic commands which are categorized in different sections. So suppose if you are working as a Linux administrator or in any field which needs you to work on Linux, so these commands will help you a lot. So okay, so let's start. So first we'll see like file operation commands. So these commands basically help us to work on different kind of files. So first let's see first command. So it is ls. So ls is list. So list it will list the number of files in current directory, or if you pass a argument like ls and the path of any directory, it will display the list of files and folders in that directory. Then we have cp, which is copy command. So suppose if you want to copy a file from one place to another place, or so you can use this command. So cp file name and the new file name or new location. Then we have mv command, so which is move. So suppose if you want to rename, using this command you can rename a file, or you can move a file from one place to another place. So the input and output will be mv and file name and the location where you want to send it, or if you want to rename it, you just give the new name in the current directory. Then we have rm, which is remove. So using this you can delete a file. ln is to create a shortcut link, like if you work in Windows, just to understand. So if you are working window and you create a shortcut for a file, in the same way in Linux you can create a shortcut using ln command. Okay, so basically it creates an alternative name and it points to the same file. Okay, shred is nothing but deleting a file in such a way that it cannot be recovered. So it deletes the file and overwrite the location of that file with zeros. Okay, so that file cannot be recovered. So if you delete it with delete, it may be recovered using the recovery tools, but if you delete it using shred, it cannot be like recovered. So there are different options in this. We will explore all these commands one by one later. Okay, so now let's see the directory operation commands. Okay, so cd is change directory. So suppose if you are current directory and you want to change to some other directory, go to somewhere, you can use this command cd and the location of that. So suppose home a username, and then you can change it to there. Or if you want to go to temp directory, then you can do cd/temp. So you will be in that directory. So PWD is nothing but presently working directory. So suppose sometime if you are not sure like which location you are currently at, so you can give this command PWD. So this will display the location where the user is currently. Okay, so base name, this will print the file part. Like suppose if you have a path slash home slash user slash sample text file. So this, suppose this is the file. If you give base name and this path, it will display you the file name. And suppose if you want to get the directory part of it, like excluding the file name, you can use that dir name. So using these two, you can either get the name of the file. Suppose if you have file, so basically in normal scenario you won't use it, but suppose if you want to write a script or something, and if you in that if you want to get the file name or the directory name from a path, you can use these commands, base name and directory name. So mkdir is used to create a directory, make directory, it's obvious. rmdir is used to uh, delete a non-empty directory, sorry, empty directory. So if directory is empty, you can delete that using rmdir. If there are files in that directory, you won't be able to delete that using rmdir. So for that you can use the next command, which is rm-r. So r is recursively. So if you want to delete a directory and which contains different files and folders, so you can use this rm hyphen rf. F is forcefully, so rm hyphen r, delete that directory recursively. Okay, so these are the categories working with file and directory. So let's come to next. So viewing file, like working with the different kind of files. So these are the commands using which you can see the content of file work differently. Okay, so cat is to see the content of the file. So cat, and give the file name, it will display the content of it on the terminal. Less is used to it will display uh, the file content. It will not open it, but it will just display the content page by page, and you can press arrow key or space bar to see the next content. So basically it won't cat, less, and head. These all are safe commands to open a file. If you don't want to make any change in a file, or mistakenly, or by mistake or accidentally, you can use these commands. So less is better than more. So this, okay, so and then head will display you the top 3 or 4 lines of a file. So suppose if you want to see only the top 3 line, or top 4 line, or top 5 line, or top n number of lines, so you can specify the head hyphen n and number of lines you want to see. So it will just show you the that many number of lines from the top of that file. Then we have tail. So this is just the opposite of head. So this will display you the content from the end of the file. So suppose if you want to see 10 lines of content of a file from the end, so you will give tail hyphen n and 10, so and the file name, so it will display the content from end. Okay, so nl is a text. One second, let's see. Okay, so NLV is basically, it's the same like for displaying the files. Well, it will show you the also the line numbers. Then we have string, display the text that embedded in a binary file. So this will, if suppose if you have a binary file, and if you just cat it, it will display you the garbage values and all. So if you want to see the string of that, so you can use strings and the file name. Okay, then we have OD, which will display the octadecimal, the file in the octadecimal form. So okay, so XXD is the hexadecimal. Suppose sometime you need to see the exact. Suppose if you have a binary file and you do not you cannot see the correctly, and if you want to see it binary value or something, so you can use OD, octadecimal, or XXD like hexadecimal. Okay, then you have GV. So this you know, like PDF files. So if you want to see those files, you can use GV. So if it is not available in your distribution, you can install it. Suppose if you have Ubuntu, so you can install it using sudo apt install GV. Then you will be able to see the PDF file on terminal. Then XDVI. So these are the text DVI files. Sudo view text dvi files. So these are the different kinds of file. So basically cat, less, head, tail, nl, string, these od, xxd, these may be available by default on your distribution, or if it is not available, you can install it using apt get install, or yum in red hat distribution, likewise. Okay, and brew in brew in mac os. So like this. So these command, but see, out of this cat, less, head, tail, nl, strings, these will be by default available, and these commands will be helpful, and you can use these to see the content of a file without making any change accidentally. So if you don't want to make any change accidentally, you just want to see the content, you can use these commands. Okay, so let's move forward now. So these are the commands which basically help us to job control commands. So jobs. So this will list you the currently jobs running under the user. So ampersand. This if you add this command to any command, which suppose if you are tailing a file which continuously tails on a changing file, or if you are writing some log, or if you are doing any kind of if you are running any command which is running continuously and you don't want to run it in the foreground, and you just want to get the terminal back, you can use ampersand at the end of it. So this will send that command to background and it will keep on running. Then you have control Z. So so suppose you have run a command and you want that command to be sent to background, you can just do press control Z and then you do BG, so that will go to background. Okay, that suspend. So if you use this command, it will suspend a running command or shell. Okay, FG, suppose you had sent a command to background using control Z and BG, you can bring it to forward using FG. So basically it's foreground. So basically it unsuspend a job, like bring it to the foreground. The BG, as I have already told, so this will make a suspend job run in background. So suppose first so what is the exact issue? So if you want to run a job, so either you can suspend it or you start running it from beginning by putting ampersand at the end of it. Okay, so kill and stop and continue. So basically kill is used to kill a running process. So there are different parameters of this. So kill stop will stop that process, and kill continue will continue that process. So basically these are the job control commands. Okay, so you can just revise this, go through this one by one, so you'll understand better. If you have any confusion on this, please do comment in the comment section. I can clarify that later. Then we have file creation and editing commands. Okay, so suppose you are on terminal, you want to create some files. So using these commands or these editors, you can do that. So there are different editors available in the Linux, which works on terminal well. So Vim is the latest of Vim. So you just Vim and do the, if you want to create a new file, you can give Vim and new file name. If you have a file already and if you want to open it and make some changes, you can give the Vim and the existing file name. And the VI is also the same kind of one, but it's a bit older, and Vim supports more options. So now the Vim is by default not available. So you may have to install it using the package installer. So you can use VI always. You have Nano. So it's like these are all the basic editors which work on the terminal. Okay. So Nano, Emacs, Edit, ED. So these are the editors which are available for you to create files on terminals. So you can play with these different editors, and we'll have separate session for each editor. Like how what are the shortcuts, how do you work efficiently on this. So we will have that session also one by one. Okay, so let's move forward now. Okay, so let's see the so currently like now we'll see like file property command. So basically if you want to see properties of files, so you can use these commands. So stat will display the attributes of the files and directories. There are different keywords also, like keys or parameters to this command. Using that you can see different kind of information. Okay, so WC is the word count. So basically it's a count. It can be used to count number of lines, number of bytes, number of words. Different options are there. So basically WC hyphen L will give you the number of lines in a file. Then you have DU. DU is it measures the disk uses. So DU is disk uses of a file or directory. Suppose if you want to see the size of a file or size of a directory, you can give du hyphen sh or something. There are different parameters are there. So suppose du hyphen or just give du and the file name, it will display, it will show you the how much disk uses is being done, like how much disk is used by this file or any directory. Then there is a file. So this will identify the type of file. Okay, file and file name, it will give you the type of files, what type of file is this. And touch, if you want to, using touch command, you can create a new file or just an empty file. You just want to see whether this can work when suppose there is a disk and where you are not able to write something else. So you just try to see touch and for new file name, and if it is successful, that means the disk is writable for the user. So these commands are used in different scenario. The applicability is depends upon you, how do you use this command. Okay, then we have ch honor, ch own, that is ch change honor. So suppose currently a file is created by me and I want to change the honor of it. Suppose I want to change the honor, like, or make the honor to some other user. So I can use this command change on. Then we have change group. As you know, in Linux we have groups and users. And suppose if you want to change a group for file, you can use change group chgrp command, change group. Then we have ch mode. So there are different type of modes in modes of a file and directory in a Linux, like the read, write, execute permissions are there. So if you want to change mode of a file, you can use ch mode. Then unmask, so this will set a default mode, new file and directory, unmask. So change attribute is there. So extended attribute of file, it will change the extent. There are different. So you can play with this command. You can experiment this way, this command to understand in better way, like where you can use this command. If you run this command, you will see the different outputs, how it's different. So you will understand, okay, this command I can use here, this command I can use here, like that you will understand. So for that you need to play with this command. I'll also try creating videos with all these commands one by one. So that I'll do. This is just an introductory part, so I'm just going through these commands. So okay, so ls attribute will give you the list of the attributes of a file or directory. Okay, so now move to searching files. Suppose sometime you want to search of any file in Linux. Suppose you want to know like where this file is located, or you have copied a file somewhere and you forgot like where you kept it, like this. So you can use these command to find the location of a file or directory. So for that, basically, like first command you can use is find, and there are different options in that find and the file name. So it will try to search the file, and then you have xargs. So this is x arguments. This is process a list of located files. So suppose whatever output it will give to this command, it will format it and pass it to different command. Okay, then we have locate. So locate, if it is not available, you have to install a package, mlocate package. After that, what it does, the difference between find and locate is that locate index the file system and keep a cache with itself. And so find will run every time, it will go in each directory. But in locate, it creates the metadata update once, and then it will first look in that. If it is not available in that cache, it will try to search in the disk. So, okay, so for that you have to install like apt get install mlocate package. So which command will locate the executable? Suppose if you want to, if you have installed Java, okay, and you want to know the part, so you can give which Java, so, or which Python. So it will display you where that executable is available. Then type, this will locate the executable in search path. So type will, so you have search path assigned, so type will locate the executables different, and you have varies. So I have already made some video on varies. So this will locate the executable documents and source code. So varies will display you everything about a command or a file. So where is it located, a documentation about it, where the documentation is located, and where the source code of that command. So this is very useful command. Okay, you can use it very well, and this will help you a lot. So then we have file content manipulation. So if you have a file and you want to change the content of it without opening it, so you can use this command. So grep. So you, if you want to search something, suppose if you want to search India in a file, so we will do grep India and the file name. So it will display you all the occurrence of India in that file name. Then you have cut command. So the extract columns from a file or a command. So this basically you can use it in file as well as the different commands by pipelining it. Okay, so cut. So basically it will cut out of, suppose if you have a string and if you want to cut half of it on some delimiter or some value, you can use this command. And then paste, append different columns. So you had to you have suppose different columns in a file, and if you want to display it combined way on terminal, you can use the paste command. Then you have tr, so that is translate character into character. So, so basically it will change the format of that. Okay, then you have sort. So if you want, if you have output from cat or output from grep and you want the output should be sorted form, so you can use pipeline sort, so that will output will be sorted then present. So unique is there. So basically unique, suppose if you have a file and you have uh, same content or the repeating content, and if you want just the unique thing from that file, you can use this command. So it will just display the only unique items. Suppose if you have 1 to 100 and some repeating numbers, so it will just display the unique numbers. No, it will not repeat, it will not display the repeated numbers. Okay, then you have t. So this will also what it does, like if you want to suppose if you have output and you just want the command output to be displayed on terminal as well as in some file, so you can use this command. So what it does, so copy a file and print it on standard output simultaneously. So it will copy the content in file also and it display on the terminal also. Okay, so if you have any confusion on this, you can always write, you can always comment. Okay, so okay, let's see, and then let's move to other command. So now we have file compression and file packaging. So suppose if you want to create archive files, so tar or gz file or zip file. So using these commands, you can create different kinds of compressed file or like archival file. So suppose if you have files and older logs and you want to create archive for that, you don't want your space to be wasted, so older logs can be archived and put somewhere on the backup location or something using. So basically this is to make you understand where you can use the archive. So we have tar. Okay, so package multiple files into one tar file. So you can give tar hyphen c is for create, so new tar file and the file location and the file name dot tar dot gz or something. So you can play with this command. Okay, you have gzip, so creates the gnu zip file. So you have a zip file in Windows, as you might have already seen it. Okay, so you have gunzip, bzip2 b. So these are all basically different commands. So you have different options. So according to your requirement, you will use these commands. Okay, so you will not use all these commands, but according to the scenario and the type of compression you want and type of file to be compressed. Suppose you want, suppose if you have created a tar file, so that will not be that won't be able to open in any other like operating system like window. So what if you want, so for that you will create a zip file that will by default open in Windows without installing any third party application. So these are the different commands like compress, uncompress, zcat, zip, unzip, metamail. Okay, so basically metamail is the extract MIME data from a file. So what are the metadata in a file that will extract, the metamail will extract it. So if these are not available, you have to install it using the package manager. Okay, so these are basically the commands, different commands using which you can create a compressed file to save the disk space or create a backup. Okay, so you play with these commands and see according to your scenario which command you want to use it. Okay, so let's move forward now. So now let's file. We'll see the file comparison. So if you want to, sometime you must have as a developer or something. If you want to compare, suppose if you have a like configuration file and you want older configuration file or newer file, or you had made suppose a backup of a file and you have a new file and you want to compare between those files, like what changes are there, like what new thing added in the new file. So using for that you can use these tools like file comparison tools. So diff, so basically this will display the line by line comparison of two files, like what are the difference plus minus, it will show you. Then com, this will display the comparison. This will also compare do the comparison, but the file should be sorted. So basically if you do diff or com or any comparison of files, it's better to sort that and then you do the comparison. So that will be that will give you accurate result. That CMP is there, so this will do byte by byte comparison. Okay, and other two will give line by line comparison. Okay, so suppose if you want to see the byte comparison, like the file on the byte level, comparison on the byte level, so you can use CMP. Then MD5 sum, so this will display the checksum. So suppose if you have a file which you have copied from internet, so you will have checksum value, and you can use this command to check you can use this command to check the checksum of that file in order to understand that okay, this file had not been changed. So suppose you have a file, okay, and you doubt that someone has changed that file. Okay, so you to take the checksum of original file and take the checksum of the new file, and then you compare it. If those matches, that means there is no change in that file, and if they're not matches, then you can understand that there's someone has made that change to a file or embedded something in that file. So these are the very useful commands for file comparison. Then you have, suppose you want to print a file, so LPR, LPQ, LPRM. So these are the different commands related to printing, removing a print job or viewing a print queue. Okay, so suppose if you have printer installed and configured, so LPR will print a file. You can use this command to send a file to for printing to a printer. Then LPQ is a queue is will display the what are the queues, like what are the files and the queues for printing. LPRM, suppose if you want to remove a file and you don't want to print it after giving the command, so you can use this command for removing it. Then suppose if you want to do spell check in files in Linux, you can use this look as spell. Okay, so these will display the these will do the spelling checks on the different files. Suppose if you want to, if you have created a file and you want it to be correct spelling wise and grammar wise, you can use these commands. So if these are not available, you can install it always by using package manager. I have already like said that many times. Okay, so play with this command. So let's move forward now. Okay, so now we'll see the disk and file system commands. Okay, so so how to work with disk and the file system. So DF, this will show you the information about the file system. In each file reside on all the partition, all the what is the space left, how much space is left. So DF-H will give you display the information about all the disk in the human readable format, DF-H. Okay, so du, this will give you the size uses. Okay, file, like how much disk space is being used by a file. So du mount, so suppose if you have a file system and you want to mount it, so you can use mount for that. Unmount, suppose if you have added a disk and you don't want to use it later, and so you can use unmount it. So unmount, basically unmount and unmount is basically what that it will make that disk available to the file system so that you can read it write on that file. Okay, so so in Linux what happens, like there is file system tree. So if you want to add a disk, you have to prepare the disk in the correct format, like extfs and journaling file or ext2 ext3, like that, and then you can mount it to the that tree, like file system tree. On some places you have to create a mount point is nothing but just a directory, create a directory and map the disk to that directory. So it will be read write. You can read write and do operations on that directory. So basically mount and unmount. FSCK. So FSCK is like a file system checker. So you can use this to check the disk error. Like if there is issue with any file system on, suppose you see like you are not able to write, or there are issue with the writing of files. So you can use this FSCK command to check the disk error. Then sync. So flush all disk to the cache. Like suppose the operation happens. So for some time the content is kept in the memory, and if you want everything to be synced, so you can use this command. So this will flush the content from memory to the disk. So it will be persistent. Okay, so lshw, so this will give you the list of all hardware in the Linux system. So basically sometime you want to see like how many processors are there, how many what are the different disk attached to what are the different network interface attached to your system. So you can need lshw, so this will give you the list of all hardware. lsblk, so this will give you all the block device. So block device is basically all your disk which works on the block mechanism. Okay, so it will give you lsblk, so all the block devices which are attached to. So there are different kind of devices, the processor, memory, disk, and all. So block devices, this lsblk will give you the list of block devices. So find mnt. So if you want to see the mounted files in, like where is it mounted, so you find mnt will give you that. The blk id, it will give you the block id of a device. Okay, locate bring block device attributes. Then f disk display the manipulate a disk partition. Suppose so in window what I am why I'm comparing that, like many people has used windows, so you will understand better. So fdisk is to create, delete, or manage or manipulate the file system. Suppose if you have a new disk and you want to create a partition of that, you have to create file system. So you can use fdisk in Linux to create a partition, make that file system ready, and create new partition 1 2 3, how many partitions you want. So for that you can use fdisk mkfs. So when you create partition, then you have to run this mkfs, so that will create the file system. Basically create the file system. Suppose ntfs, fat, or extfs file system, whichever file system you want. So this mkfs you can use to create the file system. Then mk swap. So if you have less memory and you want some part of a disk to be created as swap file system, so you can use this mk swap command. So see, these are the basic introductions, the list of the command available. These all commands has different parameters, different keywords. So using that you can perform different things. So for that we can run each command one by one. Later we'll have that one by one, where I'll show you the example of how to use these commands. Okay, so this is the basic information I'm giving. Okay, so then parted sf disk file. So these are the different commands which you can which will help you or enable you to work efficiently with the file and the file system and the disk. Okay, okay, let's move forward now. So this backup and remote storage. So dump will write disk partition to a backup mechanism. So if you want to create backup of something, so you can you have a backup medium like tape or NFS location or something of that sort. You can use this dump command to write disk partition. Like it will write a disk partition. I have all the content to that medium, that backup medium, and restore. So whatever backup you have created using dump command, you can restore using the restore command. Then CD record, you can record data on CD, DVD, Blu-ray using this. And so this is some issue with this, so let's ignore this. Okay, this is just like information about this. So empty, so this will help you to work with magnetic tapes. Okay, CPI copies all file and to archive. Okay, CP, SCP, copy, remote copy. So basically CP, and you can use this command SCP. SCP basically you can use to copy a file from current server to some other server. secure copy. So there you can give the different location, that is IP address, add the path. So there you will be able to copy from one server to another server. So DD is a very important command which will make you the exact replica of selected disk. So basically, if you want to make the exact copy of a disk, you can use this dd command and tar zip zzip. This will help you to compress it, and using scp or backup or dump, you can send it to some other location or the backup medium. So these are different backup and restore mechanism commands you can use. Okay, so let's move forward now. So now we'll see the monitoring. So suppose if you are working on a system and you want to see the different resources, what resources have available, a different kind of information about the system. So you can use these commands. So PS display the list of the processes running, uptime, view the system load. Like uptime, basically what is so like how long the system is running, what are the load percentage and all. This will give. So and W the list of active processes for the user. Suppose I'm a user and I see W, it will display me the list of active process for me, like for a user. If you specify user ID, it will display you the uh, active processes for that user if you have permission to see that. Okay, and then you have top. This is very good command to see the resources. This will display the information about memory, RAM, swap, running through all the processes in continuous manner. This is basically, it comes in a tabular form. It keeps on updating itself. So this is very good tool which most of the people uses to see the system resources. Then we have htop. It's a better version of, or some advanced version of top command. Then io top is there. So this will display the IO related input output, like read write related information. Then we have genome system monitor. So this is basically a, GUI command, genome system monitor. As you have task manager or system manager in Windows, so you, in the same way, you have genome system and monitor. So that will display in GUI. The xload simple graphical monitor. Then free hyphen, so free is good command to use when you want to see the system resources. Suppose if you want to see the how much memory is free or used, you can give free hyphen h or free hyphen g. So this will give the output in gigabytes. So the amount of memory used and amount of memory available. So this is very good. So basically, out of which we can use most of the time is PS uptime, top. Then you have free LSOF. You can use IO stat. You can use for seeing the IO input output stats. Then so these are the different options. So if some VM stat, it will display the virtual memory, kernel thread, disk, system process. So basically, it will display, VM stat will display everything, all this in, aspect of a system. So these are the different tools which you can use for to monitor your system. So as a Linux administrator or Linux support engineer, or be it anyone. So if you want to see the system resources, you can use these commands. So you can play with all these commands, and let's see if you have any confusion. So I think you should remember, out of this, you should always remember PS, uptime, W, top, free, then LSOF, IO stat, and VM stat. So others also you can use, but these are the important commands which you will always need to see the system resource. So okay, so let's move forward. Okay, so now we have the commands related to networking. Sometimes you need to troubleshoot network related issues. So for that, you can use these commands. So trace route. So this is basically, so this will show you the network path or to the remote host. Suppose if you want to see a host, where it is reachable or not, or what are the hops between host and your current system. So you can give trace route and the IP address. So it will display by each hops, like how many routers or bridges are there in between. So it will display all the information. Then IF config. So this is a bit older command. So to set and display network interface information configuration related to IP address. So netstat, this will display the active connections. So how what kind of active connections are there? How many are in close bit? How many open? How many connected and connection established? Those kind of information it will show. And who command is will show you the who is logged in, like who all users are logged into the current system. Then TCP dump list all active connections. So this will display all the active connection on a system. Ping, you want to check like whether a host is reachable or not. Sometimes it happens that ping is disabled, so you won't be used to you won't be able to use it. But in most of the cases, you can use ping command to see if a host or IP address is reachable or not. Then if up, if down, if query. So this will basically activates, deactivates, and query about the states of the network itself. What in network interface? It does that the network card I8 one I2. Then so there are different network cards. So network interfaces, which so basically a network card which make interface to the outer world. Okay, so whether it is up or so this you can use this I if up, if down, if query. So then you have NS lookup. NS lookup you use to see the name server related information. Okay, internet name. So name NSS, like you have name servers. So where this will one second. So it will store the information about name and IP address, those kind of information. So dig is sponsored domain information grouper. It used to retrieving information about the DNS name server. Okay, so MTR combines the functionality of trace route and ping. So this will combine the functionality of both command trace route and ping. Then you have IP. So this will display the IP information. ETH tool is utility querying and monitoring network interface controller. So route display the route manipulation of IP routing table. For sometime you need to create routes and configure routing in IP table. You can use this command. So NMCLI. Okay, so this have very good like command line tool and provide a CLI command line interface for managing the network related things. Then SS. Okay, so this will investigate sockets and see if it the network Swiss Army. So this is very powerful command. You should always remember this. You can use this very frequently to use some. So this has many functionalities. This you once you explore this, you will understand. We'll have a separate session on every commands. Then host command. It's this will just do the NS DNS lookup. Okay. So out of which basically the command which you can use most frequently is traceroute, ifconfig, netstat, who, TCP dump, ping, dig, then mtr. So in the day-to-day life you can use this command, and I think basically if you want to work very efficiently on network cloud, you need to understand all these commands very well. Okay, so let's so this completes the network related stuff. Now move forward. Now we'll see date and time. So date and time, basically you want to manipulate or check the time and date on the system. So you have these options. So X clock will display you the graphical clock on the terminal. Then cal is that cal will print the calendar. Date will give you the date and the time of the system. NTP update. Okay, so NTP update will you have two options, either to have the local clock or in our production setup all the hosts reports or get sync from a remote clock. So that is just an NTP server from where we fetch the time and update the current state. So for that you can use NTP update. Okay, so okay, so this happens to date and type related commands. Then you have maths and calculation. So you have xcal. So if you want to do some mathematical related things, so you can use these commands. So expr is very useful in different scripts. So if you want to do some calculation or something inside a shell script, you can use this expr command. And then dc command is a text-based calculator. So these are different mathematical or calculation related commands. Okay, then we have screen output commands. Okay, so something you want to display on screen and not in file, or not redirect on this file, something you can use this. So basically echo and the message you want to display, you can use like echo hello Linux, and it will display hello Linux on the terminal. And then you have printf. It's just you must have seen, if you have studied Python or C, C++, you must have known to this. So printf will also display the formatted. So echo will just display the output, and if you want to format it like tab separated, or like space separated, or some space should, should be left. So these kind of things output you can perform using printf. Then yes is there. So this will display the repeated text. So if you do s and hello Linux, so it will like print that continuously on the terminal. Then SCQ is there, so it's print the sequence of numbers. So SCQ, suppose you want to print number from 1 to, sometime you may need to have a sequence of number like 1 to 100 or 1000 to 1 lakhs or something. So you can use this command to print the sequence of numbers. Then you have clear. So whatever is displayed on the terminal, you can clear using this clear command. Okay. So this summarize commands related to date, time, maths, calculations, screen output. Okay. So go through this, all the commands, run one by one. Whenever you get time, you will understand better. Okay. So let's move forward now. So now we have commands related to instant messaging. So this terminal also provides you to message to different hosts or different users working on the same system, using different terminals or different. So write command will send message to a terminal. So okay, message prohibits text and write. So message will prohibit tags and write talks and writes. Okay, tty print your terminal device name, so where you are working, which terminal you are working on. tty wall will this is very good command you can use to send message to another user on different terminals. Okay, so suppose there are different users working on the same system, and administrator want to send a message. Suppose a system is going to be down, or suppose our administrator want system to be restarted. So first he will send message using wall command to all the users logged in. So once you send like example, for example, what you can send wall hi users, this system is going to be rebooted. Okay, now please save your work and exit from the terminal, and this will boot in this many seconds. So this message you can send using wall, so it will display on all the users logged in. Okay, so then you have text-based browsing. So some you won't have graphical access, graphical user access on the terminal. So and you want to access some website or see the output of some html, you can use these commands to work with the website or web page. So linx is Linux open source command line browser, linked to a bit advanced version of Linux. The e-links a bit similar to link to, but it's older actually. E-links actually, the first was e-links, and the latest one is link 2. So link 2 is better. E-links was used earlier. So wget is used to get the file. Suppose you want to get a page or download a file from a server, so you will use wget for the wget for this. Then you have curl command. So it's a like client url shortcut for that. So it's a command line tool that enables data to be transferred over various nodes. So using this command you can perform many things related to a web page or website on use terminal step. Then you have w3m, so open source text-based web browser. Again, these all are the text-based web browser or commands which will help you to work well with the files or http urls or some ftp urls which is located on different servers or on the internet. Okay. Okay, so now let's see the email command. So using this command, you can send emails from terminal to different email IDs. So for that, there are different options are there. So these options has different kind of features. Okay, so whatever fits you, you can use that command. So you have mail, mailx, a bit advanced version, mut, mpack, send mail, swag, snmtp. So basically, mailx, mail will be available there always. Send mail is available. Mut is available. So any one of this is not available, and there are many other commands also. Okay, so these are not like exhaustive list. Okay, so there are many other lists, many other commands you can search on internet. So basically, mail and mut and send mail. This will be helpful. Basically, this can be used to send simple mails from the terminal to some mail ID and all using the local mail server. Okay, so let's move forward now. So this summarize basically related to accessing internet content or sending mails or messaging to different users on using terminal. Okay, so now let's see the network connection related commands. Okay, so SSH is used. It's very useful command using which you can connect to remote server, remote host, command line. Then you have telnet. You can connect using telnet on a specific port to different server. Then you have SCP. So it's a secure copy. If you want to copy some file from one server to another server, you can use this SCP. Then you have SFTP. So secure copy file transfer remote host. So this will be interactive, and SCP will be batch. Okay, so SFTP is interactive, so it will give you a terminal, okay, or CLI where you can do run different commands available. Once SAP, once you start, it will start copying, and finishes once all the data is copied. Then you have FTP, so this will be interactive only. FTP is client you must have seen. Okay, so now different graphical based FTP and SFTP clients are available, but if you want to run this, you can also use this from the terminal. Then you have host location. So host related in command. So host, look the host name, IP address, and DNS information for a specific IP. Okay, who is look up to the registration of internet domain, like who is basically gives you the all the information about the DNS and other registration information of a domain name. So suppose www.google.com, if you give who is, so it will display all the information, where is it located, what is its address, who is the owner, those kind of things it will give you. Then ping is to check the connectivity or reachability between two hosts. Trace route, as we have already said, that it will check the path between the two hosts or two machines. Dig is used for querying the DNS name server. Okay, let's move forward. Then we have host information. So suppose if you want to see information about, first we have seen the information about the different hardware, file system, resources, and now if you want to see the specific commands to see the specific kind of resources, so then when can you use this? So uname is very useful command which will show you the information about the information about the current system, what is the kernel version, what is the domain name, what is the name of the machine. These kind of things you can use using uname. LSW, so list hardware. LSCPU, this will give you the list of the all the CPUs, how many cores are there. And basically you can do also cat proc CPU info. This will give you all the, so this LSCPU will reads from that file only, and it displays you the information, the list of. Sometime if you someone has asked you, like please tell me the number of CPUs available on that server, so you can use this command lscpu. Then you can use lsblk, so block devices we have already discussed. lsusb, so suppose you want to see the list of USB devices on your system, so you can use this lsusb. LSPCI, so PCI devices. So these are the basic hardware related or system related information gather and collect. So this command will help you to gather different information about a system. So okay, then host name will give you the host name of the current system. Okay, then DNS domain names, same as the like the host name hyphen D. Okay, so this will give you the domain name, Then we have NIS domain name. So basically this is the same version of the host name with different options. Okay. Then we have IP, set and display the network interface. You have already seen this IP. And IF config, this will display you information about the IP address and gateways and everything else. So this is very important command if you want to see the network related information. HW info. So this will display you the hardware information of the present system. So these are the very important command, out of which you will be needing very frequently is the uname, LSW, LSCPU, LSBLK. Then you will use host name, IP config, and hardware info. So okay, so these are the different commands you will use frequently. So just play with this command and we'll see. Okay, so now we will see the user management command. So on working on a Linux, as you know, the different users are created on a Linux system. So we will see the different commands which can be helpful to work related to users. So user add, if you want to, suppose if you want to create a user in a Linux system, you can use this user add. Then user delete, if you have that, if you created a user and you see that the user should not access a system. So you can use user delete, user mode. So if you want to modify anything, any features or any parameter of a specific user, you can user mode is basically user modify. And password, PSSWD. So basically this you can use to change your password as well as some other users password. If you are an admin user or root user, then you can change password for any other user. Or password, just if you give a password and you are a simple general user, you can use the password, you can change the password for yourself. Okay, CHFN. So this will change the info, some personal information of a specific user. CHSH. So when so there are different kind of shells. Okay, bash sh, then ZSH. So the different kind of shells. Shells are basically it provides interface between user and the kernel. So basically it translate your command to kernel understandable form. So different shells. So if you want to change a shell, suppose I'm working on a bin bash shell and I want to change it to bin sh. So I will do chsh, then it will display me the list of shell and ask me to input the number. So I'll change that accordingly. You run this command, you will understand. Okay, so basically this is used to change. This is also good command for changing shell, because there are different function which does not supported on different shell, and you want to test it out. Like suppose if you have written a script and you want to test whether it runs on all the shells perfectly, then you can change the shell and run that script and verify that okay, this runs on all or there is a problem. So it may happen that when you schedule a job or something, so there may be different shells by the shell default shells. So your script may run at one place and it may fail on different system. Then you will not understand okay what happened, that this script has run on my system, it is not running. So this will be basically the shell difference. Okay, so there are different commands which runs on different shell differently. Okay, so you just do that. This is just a practical example which I gave you implementation. So just you have written a script, run on all shell. If it runs successfully, you can run it on all machines almost. Okay. So these commands were related to user management. Then we have group management. As you know, in Linux, user is not separate. So all the users are part of different groups, the root group or different groups. So even a single user is created, it will be part of at least one group, at least that user. So suppose I have created a user Shashwat. Okay. So the user Shashwat will be created and I will be part of that user. Okay, so so basically group, it's like group and then user. Okay, so we can assign resources to a group, so all the users will get that access. Okay, so let's see what are the different commands related to groups. So groups will print the information about the current user. Okay, what are the groups it's a member of and all kind of things. Then group add, it will create a new group. It will create a new group. Group delete, it will delete a group as you can see from the name itself. Then group modify. So this will basically help you to modify different options of that group. Okay. So this you can play with all these commands. These are very useful commands as a system administrator or a Linux user. This will help you a lot. Okay, so just play with this command. We'll have um, I'm saying it repetitively that okay, we'll have run this command each one by one and for better understanding and just okay. So this is finished. Let's move forward. So now we'll see the user environment related commands. Okay, so log name will print the login name of user. Who am I will print the current user, like who is the current user. Suppose I'm working and I just want to understand what is the login ID or those details. So I'll do who am I, so it will display my information. Then ID, print the user ID and a group membership of me or the username I am specifying. Then who will list the logged in users, the list of all logged in users. Suppose if you as an administrator, if you want to see like how many users are logged in on a specific host, like where you are, so you will give who command, it will display all the users logged in currently. Then users list logged in users short output. So basically who will give longer output, users will give shorter output. And finger, so print information about a user. You can do finger on a user and it will display you all the information of user, what it is running or what it is doing, those kind of things. This is also good command. So last, determine the when someone has logged. So suppose if you have if you want to do some audits, like a user is saying okay, I have not I have not made any change in on server, I was not logged in or something. So you can use this command. This will display the user information when a user was logged in at what time. So those kind of things it will show. So print env. So this will display the environment related things. So what are the environment variable or those kinds of things set to shell variables or environment variables, or what environment the user current user's environment it will display. Okay. So let's move to login, logout, shutdown related things. So you don't have in a window what you do, click a button, shutdown or restart, just does that. But in if you are working on Linux on a terminal command line, you have these options to perform these things. So shutdown, this will arranges for system to be brought down in a safe way. Okay, so if you do shutdown, it will first logged in users will be notified that okay, the system is going to be down this after this this many minutes. So new logins are prevented, so no other users can be logged in during that period. So reboot, this will reboot the file system immediately. This is not a safe boot, it's just like a kind of uh, pressing a button, not that harsh, but it kind of just rebooting the system immediately. Then PM hibernate and systemctl hibernate, this you can use to hibernate the system. Init 0 shut down the system, init 6 will reboot the system. These are differences: shutdown, reboot, init 0, init 6. These options which you can use accordingly. Systemctl halt, power off, reboot, suspend and hibernate. So using systemctl, it's good option, better to use systemctl and these commands. Okay, so you can use any one of these, it's your preference. Okay, but if you do shutdown, it will be the safest way. Okay, then power off the system. So when you do shutdown, it will not power off the system, so you have to do power off after shutdown. Okay, so after shutting down you have to power down, then the system will be powered off. Okay, so these are the different commands you can play with: shutting down, restarting, hibernating your system. Let's move forward. So now we'll see the commands related to scheduling different jobs. So sleep. So what you do, suppose you want to, if you are printing something and you want it to print every 5 second or 10 second, so you can use this sleep command in between, so it will delay for that many seconds. Okay, then watch command, run a program, set interval. So watch what, suppose if you have if you want, if you are writing some file. Okay, and if you want to writing if you are writing a file and if you want to see the how much file system changes is being happening, like how much disk is being updated. Okay, so you can watch and get du-sh or df-sh. So this will continuously, basically 3 seconds default. So but you can specify the amount of or interval after how many minutes, sorry, how many second you want to see the output. So this will run a command on specified interval time. So at this will run a job or a script or a command at specified time. Okay, then we have cron tabs. So cron tab was basically like scheduler, default scheduler available for on Linux. So suppose if you want some commands to be run every 12 o'clock or every Sunday or every Monday or 15th of a month or half yearly. So these kind of things you can achieve using cron tabs. So we will have a separate session specifically on cron tabs. So we'll explain in that. So basically these are the scheduling tools like for scheduling different kind of jobs. Okay, so and then we have controlling process. So different section. This is the new like this is the another section like controlling. So kill is for killing a process. Suppose a process is running and you want to just kill it. So you can use kill command. Kill all. Okay, so when started by root, this kill command cancel all the cancelable process except those process that are started. Okay, so this will kill all the commands. Nice, invoke a program at the particular priority. So suppose in window you must have done that. You could have increased the priority. Suppose you have high, low, very high. Those kind of priorities are there. So using nice, you can increase the priority of any process which is running on the Linux. So re-nice, change the process priority as it runs. And you have CPU limit, interrupts execution of. So you can define. Suppose if you have a running process and you want it to use maximum like 10% of CPU, then you can use this command to define a limit to that. So once it reaches that limit, it won't be able to run above that. It won't be able to use above that defined limit. Then u limit, this is very important command. So this is related to number of open files in memory or by a user or by a process. So suppose this will define the maximum number of files that can be opened by a user or process in a memory. Okay, so this is very important command which we generally use. So sometime it may happen that there is a process running or software running which opens up a lot of files and you see error that number of open files is high or number of open file limit reach. So you have to use this command to see like okay, what is the limit of process or open number of open file for a process or a user. You can use this command for that. Okay, let's move forward now. Thank you. It was a long session, so I had prepared it for you and I was waiting many days to complete this. So at last I have completed. So I hope you have enjoyed it. I know that this is very paced session, but if you just feel any uneasiness or like if you don't understand anything, please pause it and watch it again and please do write me or write in comment if you don't understand any command or if you want any if you want anything to be included or so. So I'll do one session more on every command. I'll run every command and display all the different options available for that command. So that I'll do in coming future. So please support us and keep sharing our videos, like our videos. If you like it, please comment. If you don't like, please let us know what we can improve, what we should work on. And please do like, subscribe, and press bell icon so that you can be updated whenever we upload any video or so. So thank you for watching Tech Gurukul. Hope to see you soon. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.